Good morning, students. So, welcome to the problems on job costing. So, in today's session, we are going to discuss 4 problems on job costing. So, to begin with, this is the first problem on my left hand side. So, when you're solving problems on job costing, so we need to understand what are the direct cost associated and what are the overheads. Some of the overheads are going to be recovered based on direct wages, like especially the factory overheads will be recovered as a percentage to the direct wages. In case of some other overheads like administrative overheads and selling and distribution overheads, so they may be recovered as a percentage to the factory cost as such. So depending upon the problem, so we look into and then we'll compute the respective overhead recovery as such. So in this first problem, so the central foundries undertakes to deliver 100 machines element to be manufactured out of the mild steel at rupees 7.50 per casting. So this particular company is supposed to deliver 100 machine elements, so which is made out of the mild steel, and the price that they have quoted is 7 rupees 50 paisa for per casting. The expense pertinent to the job are given below. So material required is 150 kg of mild steel at the rate of 1.50 per kg. Labor cost, so 3 different activities. Under molding section, 80 hours at rupees 1 per hour. For core making, 40 hours at the rate of 80 paisa per hour, and finishing 50 hours at the rate of 1.25 per hour. So the amount of labor time that is spent in each of these different departments and what's the labor cost per hour is mentioned here. So in addition to this, there are overhead expenses. So molding department overhead expenses recovered, that is 150% of labor cost. Labor core making department 200% of labor cost. Finishing department 100% of labor cost. So in this way, the overheads may be recovered as a percentage of labor cost. Cupola cost comes at rupees 250 per operation, and the input of mild steel in this case was 1000 kg. So if we input 1000 kg, then the cost of a cupola comes to 250 rupees per operation. Proportionately, how much kg we are going to infuse the material, so the cupola cost per operation is going to vary. 30 kg of metal is fleeted out, and the value creditable is rupees 1 per kg. So in the process of doing this operation, so we may come across some amount of wastage, so in the form of scrap or so and so forth. So 30 kg in this case it is coming out, and this 30 kg is going to be sold out at rupees 1 per kg. So we need to deduct the cost sale value of this particular scrap, so that is going to reduce your cost of production. Also 2 kg were lost in the process of melting and molding, so it's a kind of a normal wastage. Actually 105 castings were made, out of which 3 were defective and or rejected in inspection. So we are supposed to deliver only 100 castings, but while manufacturing we are able to manufacture 105 castings, and out of these 3 were defective. So it means 102 are in good conditions. The excess casting in good conditions were also delivered to the customer at a concessional rate of rupees 6 per casting. So the customer has given order for only 100 casting, and the price you quoted is 7 rupees 50 paisa. So the 2 additional casting which are in good conditions, even those 2 are also sold to the customer at a concessional rate. Instead of selling it at 7 rupees 50 paisa, we are giving it at 6 rupees per casting. So we are supposed to prepare a job cost sheet showing all these details. So here the job is not just to prepare a job cost sheet and ascertain the cost of manufacturing these 105 castings, but we also can compute additionally to find out what is the profit that the firm has made by undertaking this particular job order. So in order to save the time, I have prepared the content and the solution, so wherein I'll be explaining in step by step. So the first part is we need to put the title job cost sheet. So particulars, amount, column, 2 amount columns, for inner column for working and the external and the column for writing the final figure. Now let's start with the first one. So the direct material, in this case it is given 150 kg of mild steel at 1 rupee 50 paisa per kg. So direct material 150 kg at 1.50 per kg. So that comes to 225. So under the direct labors, three different activities are involved. Labors working in three different departments. So under the direct labor, I am going to mention molding 80 hours at the rate of 1, that comes to 80. Core making 40 hours at the rate of 80 paisa, that is 32 rupees. 50 hours at the rate of 1.25 comes to 62.5. So the total of these three put together, that comes to 174.5. So the total of direct material and direct labor, if we do, we get what is known as a prime cost. Now when it comes to the overhead expenses, so molding is given as 150% of labor cost, so that is 150% of labor cost of molding department. So 150% of 80, if I calculate, it comes to 120. Core making 200% of the labor cost of core making department, that is 32. So 200% of 32, it is 64. 100% of finishing labor cost, finishing department labor cost, that is 62.5, that comes to 62.5 as it is. So when I take the addition of all these three, we get the overhead cost to be 254 rupees. But if you take the total of these three, we get actually 246.5. okay, but there is one more cost in addition to this, that is a cupola cost. Hence the cupola cost is mentioned as for 1000 kg it is 250 rupees per operation. Since the amount of mild steel that is infused is just 150 kg, so how I am going to calculate is 150 kg into 250 divided by 1000 kg. So by doing so, we will get what is the cupola cost. So by taking the addition of all these, we get the overhead cost. But since 30 kg of material is fleeted out and we are selling this and we are recovering some value, so I need to deduct that particular amount. So less sale of scrap, 30 kg at rupee 1, 30 rupees. So having done this calculation, now from 284 rupees, if we minus the 30 rupees, so we get what is known as the overhead value. So if you see here in the formula part, I mentioned here 284 minus 30 will give us 254. Now the prime cost and the overhead, if I add up, I get what is known as the total cost of manufacturing 105 castings. Now having calculated the total cost of manufacturing 105 casting, so we are also given some information in terms of some out of 105, 3 were defective, 2 are in good conditions, and these 2 have been sold at some concessional value. So let's also do some additional calculation to find out what is the net realizable value for these 102 castings. So I proceed one more step ahead. So let me first calculate what is the cost per unit of manufacturing these castings. So if I divide 653.5 with the number of castings manufactured, so we get 6.22. So this is the cost per unit of manufacturing the casting. But since we are selling 100 castings at rupees 7.50, so we are getting 750 rupees. We are also selling additional 2 castings which are in good condition at a concessional rate of rupees 6. So I add up that value also. So the total amount realizable by selling 102 casting is 762 rupees. From this, I am going to deduct the cost of 3 defective units, because we are not selling these 3 defective units and hence they are rejected. So the cost, if I deduct from this one, so 3 defective units multiplied by cost per unit, that is 3 into 6.22. If I calculate, we get 18.66. Hence the net realizable value for 102 casting comes to 743.34. So what we have done, why we need to do this extra calculation is, since it is mentioned like to prepare a job cost sheet suitably showing all the details, so we are one side we are calculating the total cost of manufacturing 105 casting. At the same time, Since having received an order for 100 castings, but we are able to manufacture more than 100 castings, and hence we are trying to find out what is the total amount realized by undertaking this particular job order. In this way, so the details are mentioned here. So I hope this problem is clear for you in terms of how a job cost sheet is prepared. Now let's move on to the second problem. Now the second problem is, again, if we read the details, the following expenses were incurred for a job costing during the year ended 31st December 1993. So you already given what are the expenses incurred in this particular period: direct material, direct wages, chargeable expenses, factory overheads, administrative overheads, selling and distribution overheads, selling price for the above job. So already the company has undertaken a job and they already completed it, and hence you are given the details. You are required to prepare a statement showing the profit earned for the year 1993 for the job and an estimated price of a job which is to be executed in the year 1994. So wherein you are given material, wages and chargeable expenses will be 8,000, 10,000 and 2,000 for the job. The various overheads will be recovered on the following basis while calculating the estimated price: factory overheads as a percentage of direct wages, administrative, selling and distribution overheads as a percentage of factory cost. So first, for the year 1993, we need to prepare a small cost sheet, and we need to find out what is the profit that the firm has made during this particular period, and then we also need to find out how the factory overheads is going to be recoverable in the next 1994 period. So let me just draw one small cost sheet. I just increase the font size to make it slightly visible. I'll write here job cost sheet for the year 1993. Now you are given direct material 5,000, direct wages 3,000, chargeable expenses 2,000. So the addition of these three, if I take up, we get a prime cost. Next, factory overheads 3,000. So adding these two, we get what is known as factory cost. I'll just highlight some of these values so that it will be easy for us to understand. Then we have administrative overheads, that is 4,000. So if I again take the total of these two, I get what is known as cost of production, or I can call it as cost of goods sold. Then we are going to add selling and distribution overhead. That is 4,000. So we get cost of sales. Then we are going to consider the sales value. Selling price for the year is given as 25,000, and hence the profit will be 4,000. So this is the details given for us with regarding to 1993, and now we are going to find out how the factory overhead is going to be recovered in the year 1994. So the factory overhead is going to be recorded as a percentage of direct wages. So I'll just write here as a working note, computation of factory overheads as a percentage of direct wages. So the factory overhead is given here is 3000. I'll just write a formula, factory overhead divided by direct wages factory overhead divided by direct wages multiplied by 100. So factory overhead divided by direct wages into 100, if we do, we get a percentage value. So here I'll write in the form of the calculation. So in case if this is not clear, the why it is written up and down, so to make it still more better, I'll just remove this. I'll say factory overheads divided by direct wages into 100. Accordingly, I'll put the formula here is equal to, so factory overhead is given here, it is 3000 divided by direct wages is 3000 multiplied by 100. So I get here 100%. So we need to, while calculating for the year 1994, so while calculating factory overhead, we should calculate 100% of direct wages. Next, accordingly, administrative, selling and distribution overhead as a percentage of factory cost. So administrative overheads as percentage of factory cost. So the formula again goes like this, administrative overheads divided by factory cost multiplied by 100. So in this problem, the administrative overhead is 4000 divided by factory cost is 13,000 multiplied by 100. So we get 30.76%. I'll round it off to 30.8%. The next calculation is selling and distribution overheads. Selling and distribution overheads as a percentage of factory cost. Again the formula, selling and distribution overheads into factory cost multiplied by 100. So the selling and distribution overhead is 3000 multiplied by factory cost is already we are written here, that is 13,000 multiplied by, divide inside, it is not multiplied, it is divided here, into 100. So here I have made a mistake. It is not multiplication, it is division. So it comes to 23.08%. So having calculated the percentage recovery of factory overheads, administrative overheads and selling and distribution overheads, now we are supposed to prepare a job cost sheet for the year 1994, wherein again material, wages and chargeable expenses in this particular manner. So I'll continue down so that the solution will be in one particular place. I'll say estimated job cost sheet for 1994. So particulars amount. So you have given direct materials. So this direct material is mentioned as 8,000. Then you are given direct wages, that is 10,000. Then you are given direct chargeable expenses. So I'll write here as a chargeable expenses, that is 2,000. So that comes to 20,000 prime cost. Now the factory overheads. Now this particular factory overhead, as it is already calculated above, so the factory overhead is going to be recorded as 100% of direct wages. So we'll write here 100% of direct wages, that is 100% is nothing but 1 multiplied by direct wages is 10,000. So we get 10,000. So we get, now here it's a factory cost or works cost. Let's move on to next, administrative overheads. Now this administrative overhead is recovered, that is 30.8% of factory cost. So I'll write here 30.8% of factory cost or works cost, both means one and the same. So 30.8%, 0.308 multiplied by, so factory cost, that is 30,000. So 9,240. So this becomes our cost of production or cost of goods sold. Next is selling and distribution overheads. Now this selling and distribution overhead is going to be recovered, that is 23.08% of factory cost. So I'll write here 23.08% of factory cost. So accordingly 0.2308 multiplied by, so factory cost is 30,000. So we get this value. So adding these two, we get cost of cost of sales or the total cost. Now what is the question we are supposed to answer? You are required to prepare a statement showing the profit earned for the year 93 from the job and an estimated price of a job which is to be executed in the year 1994. And hence this is the estimated price of the job. So not ask us to calculate the profit component here. So they are asking us what is the estimated price of a job which is to be executed in the year 1994. So the total cost of doing this particular job comes to 46,164. So in this way, whenever you are asked to prepare a job cost sheet wherein certain overheads are going to be calculated based on certain percentage of recovery, then we are supposed to calculate the percentage recovery first based on the previous information what the firm has given, and that percentage we are supposed to use it for preparing the estimated job cost sheet. So you can just have a look. So if you have any question, you can always drop a mail to my email ID maheshb@globalbschool.in. So let's move on to the third problem. Okay, now in the third problem, so again the requirement is to preparation of a job cost sheet. The factory uses job costing. The following data are obtained from the books for the year ended 31st December 2002. Direct material 90,000, direct wages 75,000, factory overheads 45,000, selling and distribution overheads 52,500, administrative overhead 42,000, profit 60,900. Prepare a cost sheet indicating the prime cost, works cost, production cost, cost of sales, and the sales value. In 2003, the factory received an order for a number of jobs. It is estimated that the direct materials required will be 1,20,000 and direct labor cost is going to be 75,000. What should be the price of these jobs if factory intend to earn the same rate of profit on sales, assuming that the selling and distribution overhead have gone up by 15%. The factory recovers factory overheads as a percentage of direct wages and administrative and selling and distribution overhead as a percentage of works cost based on the cost rate prevailing in the previous year. So again, first step we need to prepare is prepare a job cost sheet for the previous year, that is 2002, calculate the percentage recovery of these different overheads, and then we are supposed to prepare a job cost sheet for the 2003. But what is the difference between the previous problem and this problem? In the previous problem, we are just try to compute what is the percentage recovery of overheads, and we should just calculate a cost of rendering that particular job. In this problem, no doubt we are going to calculate the percentage recovery of the overheads, but one of the overhead here it has increased by 15%, point number one. Second, we are not going to just calculate the cost of doing this particular job, but they have mentioned like the factory, no doubt it has received an order and the various cost factors are mentioned. So what should be the price of these jobs if the factory intend to earn the same rate of profit on sales, which means in the year 2002 what is the rate of profit on sales, the same rate of profit the firm wants to recover on this particular job also. So there we need to be a bit careful in the calculation. So I'll just take the format which is prepared in the previous problem. I'll copy and just paste it. So this is the solution for the third problem. So job cost sheet for the year, I'll just change this one, 2002. Sorry, 2000, yeah, 2002. Now direct material is 90,000. Then you are given direct wages 75,000. So you are not given any chargeable expenses in this problem. So I just remove this particular item. So the addition of these two, again we get prime cost. Then factory overhead is given as 45,000. factory cost is 2,10,000. So as I told you, it is factory cost or works cost, both mean one and the same. So I'll just write here one more word, works cost. Then administrative overhead is 42,000. So we get cost of production. Selling and distribution is 52,500. So we get here cost of sales. So in this problem, profit is given 60,900. So according the sales value is going to be 3,65,400. Now let's find out what is the overhead percentage. So here also they have told us like the factory overhead is going to be recovered as a percentage of direct wages. Administrative and selling and distribution is going to be recovered as a percentage of works cost. But in this case, the selling and distribution overhead has gone up by 15%. So let's first find out one by one. So again, computation of factory overhead as a percentage of direct wages. So formula remains the same, but the values are going to change. So in this case, the factory overhead is given as 45,000 divided by direct wages, that is 75,000. So I'm going to write 75,000 multiplied by 100. So it is a 60%. Similarly, administrative overhead is a percentage of a factory cost. Administrative overhead divided by factory cost into 100. So administrative overhead in this problem, that is 42,000 divided by factory cost 2,10,000 into 100. So it is 20%. Now selling and distribution overhead is given as, so selling and distribution overhead divided by factory cost into 100. So first let's calculate what is the present percentage recovery of selling and distribution overhead. Then we'll add up, calculate 15% more. So presently it is mentioned as 52,500 is the selling and distribution overhead value, divided by factory cost, that is 2,10,000 into 100. Now presently, if you just look into this, so the present, based on the present information, so selling and distribution overhead as a percentage of factory cost is 25%, but this has increased 15%. It has increased. So if I calculate 15% how much it has increased, so 15% of 25, if I calculate 3.17% more it has increased. So accordingly, the selling and distribution overhead as a percentage of factory cost, when you're calculating for the year 2003, it should be the addition of 25% plus 3.75. So it should be around 28.37%. So I repeat, so since they are given us the selling and distribution overhead has gone up by 15%, which means in the year 2002 it was 25% of factory cost. Now it has increased by 15%, means so we need to calculate how much it has gone up. So the recovery rate is going to be 15% of 25. If I calculate 3.75, that comes to 28.75%. So another way of calculating this 28.75% is you are already given how much is the selling and distribution overheads for 2002. It is 52,500. I'll write here 52,500. I'm just increasing the font size. So again 52,500. Now this selling and distribution overhead has increased by 15%. So I'll add up 15% of this one. So that comes to 7,875. Now if I take the total of these two, so the selling and distribution overhead will be now 60,375. If I calculate what is the recovery or what is the percentage of these to the factory cost, so 60,000, that is 60,375 divided by the factory cost, that is 2,10,000 multiplied by 100. So I get, sorry I missed here 10, so I get here 28.75%. So if you see here, both the answers are same. So whichever way you feel comfortable, you can consider. So here first I calculate the percentage, and then I calculate how much is 15% increase of this 25%. Then I added up these 2%. Here I wrote the presently how much is the selling and distribution overhead cost. I added 15% of this 52,500. We got the total, and this is divided by 2,10,000 to find out how much is the percentage recovery of selling and distribution overheads. Now in addition to this, we also need to find out what is the profit percentage, because we need to earn the same rate of profit. So profit percentage on sales. So in this problem you are given the profit divided by sales into 100. So profit is, in this case it is 60,900 divided by the sales value 3,65,400 multiplied by 100. So the percentage profit on sales, it is 16.67%. But when you're calculating, when you're preparing the job cost sheet for 2003, so you'll be not knowing the sales value, because we need to add profit to it, profit to the cost, then only we'll be able to find out the sales value. Since profit is mentioned as a percentage on sales, so it is coming to 16.67. Let's calculate what is the profit on cost. If 16.67% is the profit on sales, then how much is the profit on cost? So I'll just write here cost plus profit will give us sales. Accordingly, if the sales is 100, if the sales value is 100, I'll just break this into separate cost plus profit should give us sales. Now in case if the sales is considered as 100, if sales is considered as 100, so profit is 16.67, then the cost is going to be, in this case, so 100 minus 16.67, it is 83.33. Now I'll calculate how much is this profit on cost. So I'll just take up 16.67 divided by 83.33 into 100. So this will give me 20% profit on cost. So when I'm preparing a job cost sheet for 2003, since we'll be calculating the total cost, for the total cost we need to now just add up 20% to the cost to find out what is the sales value. So the 16.67 is presently, it is calculated on sales because we are knowing the sales value, but while calculating the estimated job cost sheet for 2003, we will be not knowing the sales value, we will be not knowing the what do you call percentage profit on sales. So in this case we need to calculate the percentage profit on cost. So when we have all these details available with us now, so let's go for the preparation of cost sheet. So again I use the format estimated job cost sheet for 2003. I just remove all these values here. Okay, so the format is ready now. Now direct material. So in the problem, the factory student order, it is estimated that direct material required will be 1,20,000 and direct labor 75,000. So these are the two items given. So 1,95,000. Factory overheads. So the factory overhead is going to be recorded as 60% of direct wages. 60% of direct wages. So addition of these two will give me works cost or factory cost. Then comes administrative overheads. So the administrative overhead is going to be 20% of factory cost. 20% of factory cost. That is 2,40,000. So these two will get the answer as 2,88,000. Then we are having selling and distribution overheads. So this selling and distribution overhead is computed, that is 28.75% of factory cost. So 28.75% of factory cost, that is 0.2875 multiplied by 2,40,000. So we get now the total cost. Now for the total cost we are going to add the profit. Now according to the profit percentage, instead of 16.67% on sales, now we need to calculate only 20% on cost. So profit is equal to 20% on cost. 0.20 into 3,57,000. So adding these two, we get this sales value. So selling or sales. So this is the price that we are supposed to be quoting, or the job order in the year 2003 is going to fetch us, and hence so we are ready with our solution. So the difference between the previous problem and this problem, I hope you understood. In the previous problem it was just a percentage of overhead recovery we calculated, but in this case along with that there was one of the overhead, that is selling and distribution overhead, there was some increase in it. So we calculated how much is the increase and we calculated what is the percentage recovery. Even there was also profit on sales, so we calculated how much is the profit on cost, and then we took that as a basis and we computed the estimate job cost sheet for the year 2003. So this is the solution for third problem. Now one more problem we'll take up and we'll complete the problems on job cost sheet. So the fourth problem. The fourth problem is on, again I'll read the problem. The following expenses were incurred on job number 3664 materials 9720, wages paid, department, there are three departments, A, P and C, 40 hours at rupees 8 per hour, 50 hours at 9 per hour, 60 hours at rupees 5 per hour. Works overhead expenses for this department is estimated rupees 9,000 for 6,000 working hours, which means if 6,000 working hours is there in this department A, then the works overhead comes to 9,000. So we need to then calculate what is the per hour work rate. So for department B it is 10,000 for 5,000 working hours, for department C 12,000 for 3,000 working hours. Office expenses were 75,000 when total direct wages paid in all the three departments came to 2,50,000. It is a practice to recover office overhead as a percentage of direct wages. So when it comes to office expenses, it is simple, like we need to calculate what is the percentage recovery. So 75,000 divided by 2,50,000 into percent into 100 if we do, we will come to know what is the percentage recovery with regarding to office expenses. You are required to calculate the cost of job number 3664 and its price to be quoted, which would include 20% profit on selling price. So here also again 20% profit on selling price, we need to find out what it is on the cost. So I'll just start preparing. So job cost sheet for job number 3664. So some details they are not given, like when the job started, when it is ended. So just leave it. Particulars, amount. So direct materials 9720. Direct wages, department A, department B, department C. Department 8 is 40 hours at rupees 8 per hour. That comes to 40 into 8, 320. 50 hours at rupees 9 per hour. 50 into 9. 60 hours at rupees 5 per hour. So the total of all the three together, it comes to 1,070. That is our prime cost. Now factory overheads. So department A. So for department A it is 9,000 rupees for 6,000 working hours. So if we take up like this, 9,000 divided by 6,000. So we'll come to know what is the per hour work rate. This is multiplied by how many hours department A is going to spend, that is 40 hours. So this is one way of doing the calculation. Accordingly, if I write here 9,000 divided by 6,000 into 40, it comes to 60 rupees. Department B, 10,000 divided by 5,000 multiplied by 50. 3000 divided by 5000 multiplied by department B is spending only 50 hours. So department C, 12,000 divided by 3,000 multiplied by 60 hours. 12,000 divided by 3,000 into 60. Now the total of all the three, we get 400. So addition of these two, we get works cost. Then comes office overheads. 75,000 when total direct wages paid in all the department is 2,50,000. So if we calculate what is the percentage recovery in this case, so I can put up in a simple formula again, that is 75,000 divided by 2,50,000 into 100 if I calculate, so we'll get the percentage. So that is 75,000 divided by 2,50,000 into 100, so it is a 30%, which means the office overhead is going to be recovered as 30% of direct wages. So I will just write up here for those of you who have understood, and put a percentage sign. So it is 30% of direct wages. So while calculating the office overhead, I'll just write here 0.30 into the total direct wages is 1,070. It comes to 321. The same amount I'm going to write this side, 321, and I'm going to add up. So 11,511. So this becomes cost of production, cost of goods sold, and also the total cost, because we don't have selling and distribution overhead in this problem. And finally, for this I'm going to add the profit. Now, but while adding the profit, it is mentioned 20% profit on selling price, which means again I put the small notation, cost plus profit, cost plus profit will give us sales. So if the sales is 100, profit is going to be 20, the cost is going to be 80. So if 20% profit on selling price, then how much is on cost? If I want to calculate, I just do the formula like this, that is 20 divided by 80 into 100. So you get a 25% on cost. So when we are doing in this particular manner, okay, so accordingly, so while calculating the profit, we are supposed to calculate 25% on cost. So 0.25 multiplied by 11,511. Let's get 2,877, round off to the nearest value. So this is our sales or the selling price. So in this way, so we are supposed to compute or prepare the job cost sheet for the different set of problems. So I'll also be sharing some additional questions so that you people can practice based on these step by step solutions. Thank you.